It started in the silence, not a peaceful silence, but the kind that hums just beneath the noise of the world, the kind that makes your skin feel like it's listening. I was deep in the Peruvian jungle, surrounded by a circle of shamans staring into the fire, when one of them leaned in and whispered a sentence I'll never forget. The dark doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to see if you're real. That moment hit me like lightning. Up until then, I thought darkness was something we had to avoid, escape, even demonize. But what if everything we've been told about dark powers, about fear, pain, temptation, suffering, has been backwards? What if the things we hide from are actually the very things that hold the key to our greatness? You see, we've been raised in a world that teaches us to separate light and dark. Light is good, dark is evil. Light is truth, dark is deception. But if you're on the spiritual path long enough, if you go deep enough, you'll begin to see something strange. Many of your most profound awakenings happen in the dark, in moments of heartbreak, in the pit of depression, in the depths of confusion. Not in the sunlight, but in the shadows. That's not a coincidence. That's a design. And here's the truth I need you to understand. Darkness is not the opposite of light. It is the womb of light. It's where light is born. Your greatest power, your most divine clarity, your highest calling, it's always hiding in the places you've been afraid to look. This isn't just philosophy. This is a spiritual law. And once you understand it, everything you believe will begin to shift. So let's talk about these dark powers. What are they really? Are they demons? Are they entities? Are they just emotions? Or are they something much bigger and much closer to home? The answer is layered. Because yes, there are forces that feed on fear. There are energies that amplify chaos. There are frequencies that distort truth. But they're not out there with red eyes and horns. They're inside us. They're the unhealed wounds we refuse to face. The suppressed rage we inherited from generations. The lies we tell ourselves to stay safe. The dark power isn't just out there, it's within. But here's the twist. Those powers are not trying to consume you. They're trying to wake you up. They rise not to destroy, but to mirror what you've forgotten. Your pain is not punishment. It is the portal. That anxiety you feel at night, that shadow that follows you in your dreams, that's not a curse. That's a call. But most people never answer it. Why? Because we've been trained to fear the dark. We've been conditioned to believe that if something feels heavy, it must be wrong. If something is uncomfortable, it must be avoided. But the spiritual path is not about comfort. It's about truth, and truth will crack you open before it sets you free. That's why so many avoid the inner work, because real healing, it's bloody, it's raw, it's face to face with every part of you that you've buried. Have you ever asked yourself, what part of me am I most afraid to feel? That's where the dark power lies. And that's where your light is waiting to be reclaimed. Not by fighting it, not by escaping it, but by entering it with eyes wide open and heart fully present. There's a reason ancient initiates spent days in pitch-black caves. A reason monks isolate in silence for weeks. A reason shamans drink bitter plant medicine that brings them into direct contact with their own shadows. It's because the dark doesn't lie. It reveals. It strips away illusion. It shows you what's real, not what's comfortable. And once you've met your darkness without fear, once you've looked it in the eye and said, I see you, I'm not running anymore, something shifts. You stop being controlled by it. You become informed by it. Your fear turns to discernment. Your pain turns to purpose. Your wounds become weapons of wisdom. And suddenly, the dark no longer feels like the enemy. It feels like an initiation. Let me tell you something you won't hear in most spiritual circles. Not all darkness is meant to be removed. Some of it is meant to be honored. Your anger has something to teach you. Your jealousy holds clues to your hidden desires. Your grief carries the map to your deepest love. The mistake we make is thinking these emotions are flaws, but they're not. They are tools. The dark powers are not here to make you suffer. They're here to forge you, like fire to metal. They come to test your truth. Do you really believe in love when you're abandoned? Do you really trust the universe when your plans fall apart? Do you really know who you are when everything you built crumbles? The dark is where you find out. Not just what you believe, but what you are made of. So now the question becomes, are you willing to meet your darkness without trying to fix it? Without labeling it evil? Without running from it? Because the moment you stop resisting it, it begins to transform. It becomes your ally, your teacher, your guide, and slowly you begin to develop a new kind of power. A power that doesn't come from pretending to be positive. A power that comes from being whole. That's what the world needs now, not more light chasers, but more light bringers. Souls who have walked through their shadows and emerged not untouched, but unbreakable. Souls who know the truth. That darkness is not to be feared, it is to be met, embraced, and alchemized. And that's what this journey is about. Not avoiding the dark powers, but understanding them. Not denying your shadows, but integrating them. Because only then do you become truly powerful. Only then do you stop being manipulated by fear. Only then can you walk into the world, not as a victim of its chaos, but as a master of your own energy. This is what the mystics meant when they said, "Know thyself." They didn't mean know your light. They meant know all of you, the rage, the fear, the lust, the grief, the hunger, the chows, the silence, the stillness. Because once you know it all, you are no longer fragmented. You are whole. And a whole soul, one that walks with both light and dark in balance, is unstoppable. So the next time the dark comes knocking, don't slam the door. Open it. Sit with it. Listen. Ask it, what are you here to show me about myself? Because in that question lies your liberation. And once you start living this way, once you stop fearing the fall, you'll notice something strange. Life begins to meet you differently. People begin to respond to you differently. You attract opportunities, insights, synchronicities, not because you're trying to be high vibe, but because you are real. And in a world starving for authenticity, realness is the highest vibration of all. The shadow contract, how darkness initiates your hidden destiny. There is a sacred contract every soul signs before it enters this world. It's not written in ink, but in energy. Not stored in books, but in the bones of your being. And most of us forget it the moment we arrive here. But the contract doesn't forget us. It whispers, it pulls. It rearranges the events of your life in strange, uncomfortable ways, not to punish you, but to prepare you. This is what I call the shadow contract. It's the agreement you made, not just to experience light, joy, and love, but to be forged in the fire of chaos, darkness, and pain, so that your true purpose could be activated. We don't choose our darkest moments, but they choose us. And they choose us because something deeper inside knows. It's through those moments that our destiny is revealed. Not the surface level identity we wear in the world, but the ancient purpose beneath it all. The soul's reason for being. You might be wondering, why would I ever agree to this? Why would any of us choose a path that includes betrayal, grief, failure, trauma, or loss? The answer is hidden in one word: initiation. In ancient cultures, initiation was never easy. It involved facing death, enduring isolation, confronting fears. Because without confrontation, there can be no transformation. The shadow contract is your soul's way of saying, I am willing to remember who I truly am, even if it cost me everything I thought I was. That is not weakness. That is divine bravery. You didn't come here to have a perfect life. You came here to have a real one, to discover who you are beyond comfort, beyond success, beyond validation. And the dark powers, they are the guardians of that gate. They test your commitment. They challenge your illusions. They strip away the versions of you that are too small for the mission you were born to fulfill. Let's get brutally honest for a moment. Think about the hardest thing you've ever gone through, the pain that nearly broke you, the betrayal that shattered your trust, the failure that made you question your worth. Now ask yourself this: who did I become because of it? Not who you pretended to be, but who you actually became after surviving it. Did you become more compassionate, more honest, more fearless? Did the pain teach you what truly matters? Did it burn away the lies you were living? That's the shadow contract in action. It doesn't just give you darkness, it gives you the mirror that forces you to meet yourself. And the most powerful creators, healers, artists, and leaders in the world are not those who avoided the shadow. They are those who made art out of it, who turned their trauma into teachings, who turned their wounds into weapons of light. But here's the twist most people don't see. The shadow doesn't just show up in pain. It also appears in your desires. Yes, your shadow lives in what you crave. The power you want but are afraid to claim. The success you dream of but silently sabotage. The relationships you long for but push away. Why? Because your shadow doesn't fear failure. It fears your greatness. And many of us unknowingly reject our own expansion because it would require us to confront the parts of us that feel unworthy of it. That's the trap. The shadow hides not just in what scares us, but in what we secretly believe we don't deserve. So every time you delay your dream, every time you settle for less, every time you shrink to make others comfortable, that's your shadow running the show. And until you face it, you'll keep repeating cycles that feel safe but keep you small. So how do we navigate this? How do we honor the shadow contract without letting it consume us? The first step is radical ownership. You have to stop blaming the world, the past, your parents, your ex, the system, or your circumstances. Yes, they all played a role. But the moment you reclaim your power is the moment you stop waiting for someone else to save you from your own shadow. The darkness is yours. Own it. That doesn't mean you deserve what happened to you. It means you get to decide what it becomes. That's the alchemy. The second step is presence. You don't heal the shadow by analyzing it to death. You heal it by feeling it, sitting with it, letting it speak, letting it scream, letting it cry. Your shadow doesn't want to be solved. It wants to be seen. And when it finally feels seen, something miraculous happens. It softens. It integrates. It becomes part of your power instead of a source of your pain. And the final step, devotion to truth. Not the convenient truth, not the spiritual bypassing kind, but the kind of truth that makes you tremble, that makes you question everything, that burns through illusion like fire through paper. Because only when you are willing to see clearly your patterns, your projections, your fears, your gifts, can you truly walk in your destiny. The shadow contract doesn't disappear. It evolves. It becomes your compass. It whispers this way. Every time you're tempted to abandon yourself, it reminds you you're not here to be liked. You're here to be legendary. And being legendary doesn't mean being perfect. It means being whole. It means walking into every room, every relationship, every opportunity with nothing hidden, nothing denied, nothing left behind. That's what makes you unstoppable. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what makes you dangerous to every system built on fear. The end of fear, how to walk with darkness and never be controlled again. Fear is the greatest gatekeeper of human potential. It's the invisible thread woven through nearly every decision we make, every risk we avoid, every truth we silence. And here's the terrifying part. Most people live their entire lives being controlled by it without even realizing it. We think we're being logical, practical, responsible, but really we're just afraid. Afraid of judgment, afraid of failure, afraid of being too much or not enough. Fear disguises itself as politeness, humility, even wisdom. But in truth, fear is a master of masks. It doesn't care how awakened you say you are. If it can manipulate your choices, it owns you. And if you want to walk with darkness without being controlled by it, the first thing you need to do is make peace with fear. Not by pretending it doesn't exist, but by looking it in the eye and saying, you don't get to drive anymore. You see, fear in itself is not the enemy. It's a messenger, a signal. It's the part of you that remembers pain and wants to protect you from feeling it again. That's noble. That's human. But fear was never meant to be the master. It was meant to be a guide. The problem is when we suppress or avoid fear, it doesn't disappear. It mutates. It turns into self-sabotage, into addiction, into control, into chronic indecision, into anxiety masked as productivity. And the only way to stop that cycle is to befriend your fear, to sit with it the way you would sit with a child who has seen too much. Ask it, what are you trying to protect me from? And then listen, really listen. Because hidden inside that fear is often a deeper truth, a part of you that was never taught how to feel safe in its own power. When you avoid darkness, it grows stronger in the background. But when you walk straight into it with open eyes and a steady heart, it loses its grip. The same applies to fear. Every time you do the thing fear told you not to, you rewire your nervous system. You teach your body that it can survive discomfort. You teach your soul that it can trust your leadership. And that's what this is really about, self-leadership. Being the kind of person who doesn't need external permission to follow their inner compass. The kind of person who can stand in the middle of chaos and still choose truth over comfort. That's what makes you unstoppable. Not that you have no fear, but that you no longer obey it. And from this place, your relationship with darkness changes completely. It goes from something you avoid to something you work with. It becomes a tool, not a threat. This is the final evolution of the bridge chosen one, becoming immune to manipulation. Not because you're cold or guarded, but because you're centered. You've done the inner excavation. You've sat with your shame, faced your shadows, danced with your demons. And now, when darkness shows up, whether in the form of conflict, temptation, betrayal, or even supernatural force, you don't flinch. You see, you discern, you respond, but you no longer react. And that's the key. Because darkness feeds on reaction. It feeds on your unhealed wounds, your unresolved pain, your unconscious triggers. But when you bring light into those places, consciousness, patience, compassion, darkness has nothing to feed on. It can't control a being who knows their own power. And that's what you are becoming. not just spiritually awake, but energetically sovereign. Let me ask you something. What would you do if you were no longer afraid? Really think about that. What would you say? What would you create? What would you walk away from? What would you finally begin? Because underneath all our excuses, fear is usually the gate. And beyond that gate is everything we've ever wanted. Not just success or happiness, but freedom. The freedom to be all of who you are. The freedom to love without armor. The freedom to speak without trembling. The freedom to walk through this world untamed, unashamed, and unbreakable. That's not a fantasy. That's your inheritance. But it requires something radical, the willingness to let fear die. Not by force, but by truth. The truth that you are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your fears. You are the soul witnessing it all and choosing something greater. So here we are, at the end of this transmission, but truly at the beginning of your next initiation. You've seen the dark. You've felt its power. You've understood its purpose. And now you're ready to do what few ever dare to do. Walk with it, not as its slave, but as its sovereign. And when you do, you become something rare, something sacred. You become the kind of human who cannot be controlled, not by systems, not by shadows, not even by your own fear. You become the bridge, the portal, the revolution. And the world begins to change around you, not because you forced it, but because you embodied it. That's the truth about dark powers. They were never here to destroy you. They were here to reveal you. And now that you've remembered who you are, nothing can stop you.